Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Bhavik Mota. He's Director Head of Ocean Products South Asia at Maersk. Bhavik, hi, thank you so much for joining in. And the first quarter numbers are on the higher side, export and import, both of these. Where do you see the maximum growth coming in from?
Thanks, Manisha. Thanks for having us. So if you look at from an India export perspective, the growth over last year, same quarter is 19% on exports and around 9% on imports. But you have to take these things in perspective. Let's not forget last quarter, 2024, we had Red Sea crisis, so the volumes were quite subdued. And also this year, we had an enhanced capacity into Europe and North America. So when you see this kind of a growth, it's a combination of volumes normalizing and also the added capacity that we have. Also, if you see from a growth perspective, it's around the three key segments, if I may call that. It's the retail lifestyle, it's the auto, and it's the refrigerated cargo, which is basically showing us the growth. And also from a markets perspective, it's mainly the US, the Europe, and the Middle East, which are showing phenomenal growth for us.
So just coming back to those numbers, how would you look at India vis-a-vis the rest of the world?
I think India is well poised in that sense. We are seeing uncertainty around the world. The trade tensions are only going up. From a relative positioning perspective, I think we are better off compared to many emerging economy around us. But of course, the major dynamics are still very fluid. So we see how it evolves. But what we are seeing is a good traction on volume. So if you look at US as one of our biggest trading partner, we have seen some very good growth in the retail and lifestyle segments. And even from an auto perspective, we have seen good growth coming from US as our trading partner. So we are a bit of insulated from the global uncertainty. Also, given our strong domestic consumption story that we have, so I think we have a relatively better poise, but let's see what happens after July. All eyes on that.
Those 90 days get done. That exactly was my next question, really. So when you look at tariffs, we've seen a lot of concerns, slowdown concerns as well coming from US. China is yet another story. How are you as a company preparing or strategizing for that?
No, absolutely important, right? So when these tariffs came in, I think from global perspective, I think for us, China suffered the most, right? Because of the massive tariff increase that were there. So we saw sudden pause. And all of a sudden, last few weeks, our capacity was open by almost 30-40%. Okay. And then what happens is because of uncertainty, you start redeploying the capacity to ensure you're not sailing the ships empty. Thanks to the pause of 90 days, which is given kind of short-term stability to the business, short-term predictability to the customers, and we are already seeing a spike in the bookings and the cargo moving from China. When you look at India from that perspective, I think we are well positioned, as I said, in the global trade landscape compared to a lot of other global economies that we have. But US being the largest trade partner, I think a comprehensive trade agreement is super important to enhance the stability, strengthen the bilateral commerce, and also provide a bit more predictability for the businesses on both sides.
Bhavik, I remember the last time I met you guys at JNPT, there was a talk about a lot of investment pledge capacity as well and tie-ups too. So from then to now, what is the kind of progress that we've seen?
Absolutely. So I'm sure you remember we launched the Gemini network in Q1. It's an east-west network. It was designed on the premise of bringing reliability, agility, and flexibility to the network. The new capacity deployment for India, I think, means three things. It basically meant enhanced coverage for our customers into Europe and US, better planning and predictability, and last but not the least, better control over the entire supply chain, so to say. So this for us is just not a new network, but it will help us navigate complexity, reduce uncertainty, and help customers grow with confidence. We already at 90% reliability, which was designed a year ago when we were conceptualizing Gemini. The good news is this week we also have all the ships implemented into Gemini, so we 100% phased in, and all of the results for the ships are about 90%, including the shuttles in the short run that we are having. Okay. So for India, it means better reliability for our customers doing business into Europe and US. We're already seeing an increasing appetite and want to do more business with us on this network.
How is also the collaborations within the Indian partners?
It's quite good. It's with HAPAG. So far so good. We have the similar mindset. That was one of the main fundamental reason that we see the customer the same way, we see the network the same way, and we want to run the operation the same way. And that's why, the kind of collaboration, operational collaboration that we have with them. And so far so good, because when like-minded people come along, and then you make it happen.
Would you, the way the world seems to be right now, Bhavik, there's a lot changing with India, Pakistan, and then with what's happening with Turkey and Azerbaijan and Afghanistan and Shabar Port. I mean, there's just so much happening.
Yes.
How are you dealing with it all? I'm not even talking about Russia, Ukraine, Israel, and that side of the world.
I think, the key is, how fast we can respond. I think the black swan events, which used to happen once in a while, I think they have become more norm than the exceptions. So the reason you have to build your entire network has to be built on, agility and flexibility, so that you can kind of isolate the problems. So yes, it does create a lot of nuisance, it creates a lot of rework, it creates a lot of operational cost, and so on and so forth. It's not easy, but the whole focus is how do we ensure that our customers are getting solutions. If there is a contingency somewhere, what is that alternative that we can provide, so that they can run their supply chain very smoothly, they can meet their requirements and demands across the globe very smoothly. But yeah, it's not easy, and
It's not.
always be on your toes.
I'm sure. Bhavik, also, so going forward from here then, you talked about sectors which have done well for you in first quarter.
Yes.
Is that an aberration there, or this has been a pattern going forward? What sectors are you looking at with more interest? And also, what are your plans now within India for 2025?
Yes. So the sectors, as I said, retail lifestyle will, of course, is a sector we want to focus. US, Europe are our key markets that we are seeing. We are also seeing increasing requirement in East, which is Australia and Japan, double-digit growth. Of course, albeit it's coming on a smaller base. The second sector is automotive. Both domestic sales in Q1 as well as the exports have been on the rise. Okay. We expect that rise to continue. An interesting part is it's not the usual US and Europe market. It's more of Latin America and Africa. So Latin America is coming up big time. In fact, we have doubled our volumes into Latin America. So we expect that to continue. Europe is going to be a bit more cautious on automobile, with the rising costs and also stiff competition coming from the Chinese EV manufacturers. So US and Europe bit subdued. Latin America, Africa, we see a massive growth coming in. And last but not the least, the refrigerated cargo or meat exports, phenomenal growth, 26% year on year on reefer volumes, both combination of ease down government policies, opening trade across the world. We'll also see massive exports of pharmaceutical and shrimps into North America. Pharmaceutical also saw a good 50% growth compared to what we had used to seeing. And of course, the onions and the usual fruits and vegetables that goes in. Apart from this, three key segments, retail, lifestyle, automotive, and refrigerated cargo, we see a good rise in specialty chemicals. We see a good rise in project cargo and also commodities in general that move out of India. So the outlook for 2025, while the world is still uncertain and there is a lot of trade tensions around us, we're confident that India should deliver the plan that we have in place, given both the capacity enhancement into Europe, US, given that we are kind of insulated or in a better place compared to other emerging economy. Fingers crossed, things are looking good.
All right. On that high note, Bhavik Mota, thank you so much for joining in. And well, it does look on a positive number when we look at the numbers in sense of exports, imports, shipping, and the kind of work that is being done on the sector within India as well. With that, that's all the time that we have on the show. Thank you for watching.